Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Leetcode problem. Today's video we're going to be solving question 2, add two numbers. This is a medium rated question and it reads, you are given two non-empty linked lists representing two non-negative integers. The digits are stored in reverse order and each of their nodes contain a single digit. Add the two numbers and return the sum as a linked list. You may assume the two numbers do not contain any leading zeros except the number 0 itself. So all this question says is, if we were to be given two different linked lists, these linked lists actually just represent a number. So this number is actually in reverse order to the linked list. So this 243 is actually 342. And this 564 is 465. Now what we want to do in this question is just add these two numbers up. And if we were to just do that, we get 2 plus 5 is 7, 4 plus 6 is 10, so we put a 0 and carry a 1. 4 plus 3 plus 1 is actually 8, so we get 807, and we want to return it in the same reversed order, so it would be 7, 0, 8. Now there are other cases we do have to take into account. If we were given nodes that were linked lists that were not of the same size. For example, if we were given a 5, 1, 2, 3, and let's say a 3, doesn't matter. It's given a 1, 0, a 2. We still do want to do the same thing in this case. And if you noticed before, when we did our operation for the 342 and the 465, we move from right to left. We go 2 plus 5 first, 4 plus 6, 4 plus 3 plus 1, 8, right? But since these are in reverse order, we just go from left to right. And if they are of different lengths, we do the exact same thing. We would go 5 plus 1 is 6, 1 plus 0 is 1, 2 plus 2 is 4, and then since there are no nodes here, we can just assume these to be 0. So 3 plus 0, 3, 3 plus 0 is 3. And in reverse order, we get 3, 3, 4, 1, 6. And in this case, it would be the correct answer. And the only thing that we do have to remember is we still do have to take into account a carry at the end. So if these numbers were different on this example, like let's say the last two numbers was 5 and 5, we would actually end up with 7, 0 with a 0 with a carry of 1, and then here we get 5 plus 5 plus 1, which is 11, so 1, and we have to bring out the carry. So we actually, our sum ended up being one extra node longer than the longest linked list, and that is a case that we have to take care of. But this is a pretty efficient algorithm, and it would end up being a time complexity of O to the n, where n is the longest length between the two linked lists. So I think that is all, and let's head over to Leetcode and solve this problem. So now that we are over in Leetcode, let's start by creating the linked list which will store our sum values in reverse. Let's do this by creating a head node, and let's set it equal to just the default values. So this node won't actually store any numbers, it'll just be for reference. And from there, we actually do want to traverse through this list, but we want to keep the reference to the front. So let's create a new variable called current, and let's just start it out at head for now. Let's also create new variables for L1 and L2, so we can traverse through those. We can actually just traverse with L1 and L2 as well. These variables aren't really necessary. We also do have to create our carry variable, set that equal to 0. This will store whatever carry we have from each operation. And now we started off with a while statement to traverse through everything. We will go iter1 or iter2. Now the reason why we use an statement instead of an and statement is that there are cases where we will have more nodes in one list than the other, and we don't want to stop once we've reached the equal amount of nodes. We want to keep going, because if we have one number that has more digits than the other, we still do care about those numbers and we have to carry them down. So we start off with extracting the values from iter1 and iter2, and the reason we do this is because, again, we will have test cases where, for example, we might have an L1 node but not an L2 node, and if that does happen, we're still gonna go L1 value plus L2 value, but the problem is if L2 doesn't exist, then it doesn't have a value, and we have to store a different number for it. In this case, we would just store 0. So how we would do this is go value1 is equal to iter1 dot val if iter1 exists, else we want to store 0, and value2 is going to be iter2 dot val if iter2 exists, else let's store 0. We also want to figure out what our value is. This will be equal to whatever our value 1 is plus our value 2 plus our carry, and we want to get the remainder from dividing by 10. We also want, now that we've used the carry, we want to calculate the new carry for the next operation, and we do the exact same addition operations, but instead of the modulo operation, we're going to use floor division. And all this does is basically, let's say we have, let's say our value 1 is equal to, let's say 5, and our value 2 is 6, and our carry is 1. This will all be equal to 12. Now, what this means is that value will have a value of 2, and the carry will actually be 10 floor division 10, or 12 floor division 10, which is just 1, which is exactly what we want. If we were to get this summation, we want to store 2 in our node because we only want 1 digit, and we want to carry a 1. Now, here, what we do next is create a new list node in our current linked list. And we do that by just initializing a new object, and this time we do give it a value, and we give it our value variable. Then we just want to traverse through all of our linked lists. We go current is equal to current dot next, and again, just in case we are at a test case where there are more nodes in one list than the other, we do have to check if the node exists before we traverse through it. So we go if iter1 does exist, then iter1 dot next is equal to iter1 dot next, and if iter2 exists, we want then we want to set it equal to iter2 dot next, and that should be it. And we just have to deal with the test case of the carry, because after going through every single node, we might still have a carry. So if we have a carry on the very last digit, we do want to take that into account. And how we do that is if carry, and this if statement will go through if carry is any value but 0. But if carry is something, then we want to create a new node on current.next is equal to list node, and we just have to put the value of carry. Now we can just return head, but notice that when we created head, we did not assign it any value. It's just going to be storing 0. Now that's not correct, because if we have 0 at the front and we flip it, then the number is actually 10 times bigger than it should be. And instead what we did is we're just using head for reference, and we actually started off with current.next. This actually, current.next from the very beginning stores our very first number. So that means that the beginning of the list for the sum is actually head.next. And that should be it for this code. Let's see if it works. there you go, and it does pretty well. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in another video.